Yo, what's going on, fam, out there? It's your boy Tahir Johnson, and we are back with another episode of the Cannabis Diversity Report. Today, first of all, it's February 1st out here. We're kicking off Black History Month, and I've got my brother Ngaio Bealum.
Ngaio.
What's up, man? How you
What's
doing?
up, man? It's Ngaio.
Ngaio, my
Ngaio.
apologies,
Like
man.
one Gaio.
So speaking of Black History, man, you are the first host of a cannabis Netflix show.
Am
Um,
I?
That's a great distinction, man. I think
Wow.
good company to be in, man.
That's
How's
so
that
fancy.
feel?
Yeah. I got that show on a kind of a fluke, man. They just called me up and they're like, hey, we need somebody who knows a lot about weed who's comfortable on camera. And I was like, oh, I know a guy.
Yeah,
And he looks like me.
and speaking of that, that's one of the things that I think is so dope, man. You're not only are you a cannabis expert, a comedian, really multi-talented. So for one, how did you get in the world of cannabis? How'd you
I like weed.
hey,
And I was fortunate enough to live in California. I grew up in San Francisco. And so there's decent weed. And that's kind of like the birthplace of the medical cannabis movement. And it just really went from there. I started smoking a little weed, then I started really getting into it and getting into the activism. And then from there, you just start hanging out with growers and other weed experts, Ed Rosenthal, Jack Harrer, Eddie Lepp, Dennis Perrone, all these cats, Debbie Goldsberry, Don Duncan. And all those people helped me learn and helped me grow. And I'm also not afraid. I'm easy, I'm not afraid to talk to people. So if I knew somebody was growing some good weed and I was introduced, I would just walk up to them and be like, hey, I really like your weed. How do you do that? Can I come hang out with you and watch you grow weed and smoke your weed? And you tell me what it is? And I read all the books and all the stuff. And that's just how it went. I'm just,
yeah. So
follow
so
what
how
you
long
love.
so how long have you been in the game now?
Jesus. I guess I really became like an activist probably around 1990.
Hmm.
So that's 30 years, right? I've been a comic for about 2 years. I've been a professional comedian since around 1988, and so 1990 is probably when I started getting really into activism, like going to all the festivals and going to the protests and going to the marches and the actions and lobbying politicians and court support and all that stuff. We've come a long way, man. I mean, we really thought weed was going to be legal in 92 when Bill Clinton got elected. We thought, oh, well, Bill Clinton will do it. He smokes weed. And then we reelected him in 96. He'll do it. He smokes weed. No, he cracked down on cats. People went to federal prison. There's still cats in federal prison right now for weed. And that's one of the biggest things I think that we need to deal with is we need to get people out of jail.
Hmm.
That's the most important thing to me. A lot of this other stuff, I mean, it's important to have equity. It's important to make sure that the people who were most harmed by the war on drugs have the opportunity to be the people most helped by this new legalization thing. But I really feel like getting people out of jail is the most important thing. No one should be in jail for weed ever for any time.
Absolutely, I agree, and you're so right. Like I think we have to focus on both of them. There's like the social justice side, and then there's the ownership equity side, and they're both equally as important.
Right,
But
and that
to your point, yeah.
I always try to tell people like cannabis legalization started as a social justice issue, and
Hmm.
you can't get away from that just because you want to be a capitalist. And also, I mean, I guess capitalism is cool, I suppose, but I mean, it's the way we have it set up. But it doesn't always work for everything, and you can't really monopolize a plant. And I feel like we need more. I was just talking about this the other day. We need to be more on the microbrewery, micro weedery style. These cats come out here and think they're going to take over the whole market because they have millions of dollars, but don't know how to grow good weed.
Hmm.
You're going to end up with bad weed, and so people are just going to go to their traditional legacy markets where they have good weed. I mean, that's the thing, man. The one thing about the cannabis club is they're not going to front you a sack till payday.
Right.
Right, the cannabis club's not gonna throw a couple extra nugs in there because you're a good steady customer like your weed man will. So
That's real.
that's real. That's real. So these are just things we gotta work on, and we get toward it. We're moving toward it. I mean, we've been making progress. Like, did you think South Dakota would have legal weed?
Definitely,
Right,
that's a
right.
hell out
South
of
Dakota, Arizona used to try to give you 10 years on if you just had a seed. And now they just legalized weed and did it quick.
quick.
Right? quick. As soon as they legalize it, they're like, we're opening clubs right now. Boom, boom, boom. We're not having studies, committees, all that bullshit. We're like, boom, boom, boom. Here's some clubs open. Please go buy some weed. We need the money.
Yeah, not like New Jersey. They got straight to the business, boy.
Right. New Jersey is fiddle farting around. And, and that's the thing, right? Once it becomes legal, yeah, it's money and politics start to take control, right? And so all these cats who have millions of dollars want to jump in and create high barriers to entry and do this and do that. That's not really free market. You know what I mean? I mean, Oregon maybe has some problems, but they really made it really easy for people. And now they have the cheapest weed. And some would say they have the best weed. I mean, in terms of commercial weed, they grow really good weed out there. And it doesn't cost, you could buy a joint for $1. You could buy an ounce for $50. And it'll be a good ounce.
Dang.
Right. It's harder on the farmers because now they got to grow 5 times as much on the same amount of land. But in terms of consumers and in terms of cutting down on the the traditional market, Oregon is probably doing it the best right now.
Right.
I mean, California still has problems because the taxes are high and the weed is average, and you can still find underground cats who will hook you up with better product for a better price, which is what people want. And it's hard. It's hard because if you've been growing weed for 15 years, and all of a sudden, on a nice patch of land or whatnot, and now you got to spend $500,000. You don't maybe even have $1,000,000. You got to spend $500,000 just to get everything up to code. You might as well go further underground. Like, you start as an outlaw anyway. You clearly don't want to follow rules, right? So if they're making it too hard for you to follow these rules, you can still get $5,000 a pound in Georgia.
Right. Yeah.
Right. You can get really good prices in Idaho and Texas. And so we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Right. And like you talked about, like California, right? And just that backdrop of being there in the early days of activism. I'm always interested in hearing those stories because I know it started out a lot about the patience and access for things like that. And they're like you said, we've expanded to this whole big capitalism thing. But, talk a little bit about like those early days of activism. What was it like? What was it really about?
Oh man, the cannabis clubs were just getting started, and they were way more peer-to-peer and social oriented too, right? It wasn't just you go in and you buy. It wasn't just a drug deal. You go in, you buy some weed, and you leave. You can go in, you can pick out some flowers. They would have movie night, bingo night, comedy night, peer-to-peer counseling, restorative massage. All these things were paid for by the cannabis money. It was really meant to help patients, for people who were really, really sick. And now Dennis Perone, who really pioneered the whole thing, and he was really the one who got Prop 215 passed in 1996. He was of the mind that all cannabis use is medicinal use, even if you're just using it to feel better or to giggle for a few hours. That's medicine. So clubs were really more socially oriented, and there was more community center action. And now it's just like it's like a convenience store. You just go in and get your shit and you go. But I really think we need to bring that vibe and that style back. But also, they were raids, man. The cops would show up. We used to carry protest signs in our car. They were, in the early 2000s down in LA. The feds would show up, and early when it first started getting big down there, the feds would show up. They would raid the club, and they would be there all day. They'd bring in safe crackers. They'd bring in this. They'd bring in that. They'd go fucking through everything. And so we organized. We would flash mob it up. We had a little text tree. And so the feds show up. The alert goes out. And then we call the TV stations like, hey, there's somebody robbing sick people and robbing patients and robbing. And everybody would show up in their wheelchairs and their crutches and sit in front of the cameras and be like, they're taking my medicine from me. Right? And all of a sudden, now you have 100 people outside holding signs, making noise, agitating. The cops are not perceived as heroes in this situation. They're perceived as stealing medicine from sick people, which is what they were doing. Right? And so then it almost became like whack-a-mole, because now they would just run in and they wouldn't really arrest everybody. They just run in and take the money and the weed and leave. So that's just a jack. At that point, that's just a boost. That's a heist. Really, it's armed robbery. Really, when you think about it.
And
right?
Yeah, real talk. And it's
Real
funny that
talk.
you said like I was funny that you said that like back in the early 90s, you everybody thought that it was going to be legalized. And I know certainly a lot of people think that it is now. We're like on the path there. Are you as hopeful today? Do you think Biden
I am more hopeful because it's not the political third rail that it used to be, right? Before, if you try to get a politician to talk about cannabis legalization, they'd be like, "Oh no, we can't." Obama would just giggle at you.
right?
But now it's in it's on the platform. Like Kamala was like, "Yes, we're going to work toward legalization." Biden still kind of funky about it, but Kamala Harris, who was the DA of California, she got elected by the weed heads, right? Because the guy who was going against her was hella against weed, and so we went hard for her. She did not really go hard for us back, but she was better than what he would have been. But I think she's come around, and we got to allow people to evolve and to change and to grow. It's hard for everybody. It's hard when somebody says, I've changed my mind, and you're supposed to go, right on, welcome. You can't just be like, well, motherfucker, what took you so long?
Yeah.
Right? God, fucking now? I'm old. You got to be like, yes, thank you. Thank you for changing your mind. I know it was a hard and difficult decision and a choice for you, and we're here to support you for doing the right thing. But it can be tough. It can be tough. It's hard sometimes to let that anger go. But you want people to be able to change their minds. You want people to be able to evolve on a position. And that comes down to us. And we have to push the politicians that way.
Mhm.
And it's happening more and more. And you see it. You see it more and more. And you see more people coming around. Like I said, South Dakota, Illinois, Michigan, Florida is looking at it right now, and that's awesome. And I can't wait. I can't wait till it's internationally legal, and I can just go buy Moroccan hash from my corner shop.
Same, man.
Right? Because Moroccan hash is the shit.
Dang. So yeah, and that's the other thing, man. I was watching, man. You really know your flowers, like your good shit, man. What's the best strain? What's your favorite strain? Like, what's your favorite thing to smoke?
Whatever I'm smoking at the moment is usually my favorite strain. It's harder to keep track of all the strains, man. There used to only be, maybe 100 strains or some variants around. And now it's hard to tell a cake from a kush or a cake from well, you can tell your runts from your cakes, from your gelatos, from your diesels. But there's so many different strains. I just like weed that has been grown with love and care.
Hmm.
That's really my biggest thing. I don't want it to taste like commercial pressure. I want it to be flushed really nice. I prefer an outdoor strain, but I'm not super snobby about it. And so, I mean, I've smoked some good weed, like, and I love the regional differences. Like, I feel like in Spain, they breed for THC content or something. I don't know, but that is the highest I get. Like, Spanish weed almost gives me an anxiety attack sometimes if I smoke too much of it
Dang.
because that shit gets me going. But I still feel like California has the best flavors and the smoothest effects. But I also think Southern Oregon is coming up fast. Those guys grow really, really good weed out there. Now, I haven't tried any of this Michigan weed. I thought the Massachusetts weed was okay. Toronto had decent weed. Vancouver has really good weed. Amsterdam still has decent weed. Man, I've been a lot of places. It's funny too because sometimes like I was in Tennessee one time and I always like trying to find the local cats, who's got some local flavors. But usually when you're in a state like that, you're like, oh man, this weed's pretty good. Where's it from? They'll be like Colorado
Oh,
or
what?
California, right? Which is cool. But I don't want to fly all the way out from California to smoke California weed. It's not. I'm not coming. You know what I mean? Like it's not. It's like going to a foreign country and eating at McDonald's all the time or drinking Budweiser. I mean, maybe sometimes you might be a little homesick. You like being like, oh man, I do kind of want a Big Mac. I just miss it. But mostly, you want to try what the locals have. You want to get into the local vibe. That's why I like to smoke Jägermeister when I'm in Southern Oregon, or some sort of nice train wreck when I'm up in Humboldt, or some of these Spanish strains out here, or some Black Domino, or some Durban Poison, or whatnot.
Yeah, man. You got me wanting to start traveling, man, just to start sampling a little bit more of this international bud.
That's the way. That's the wave, man. And and weed tourism is a thing. You
Hmm.
know, it's not Amsterdam is actually trying to crack down on tourists. They're kind of tired of tourists showing up, and part of that is because a lot of these cats don't know how to act, and they fucking show up and they try to smoke all the weed on the first day. They pass out or they have a panic attack. That's not, the Dutch like everybody to be you control yourself, be cool, just have a couple of hits, be
Act
smoothed
like
out, have a
you're
nice day. Don't be an asshole.
Yeah, act like it's not your first time. Your first time smoking. Like you got some sense.
Act like you got some sense. I gotta say though, my first couple times in Amsterdam, I mean, I didn't get like, I didn't pass out or have any anxiety attacks, but I was definitely fucking high. Like I never felt like a mark before in a big city. You know what I mean? Right? Because I know how to act in a big city. I've been to big cities. I'm from a big city, right? I know how to just be cool, walk down the street, be cool, high or not. But I was fucking high, and I can't read the street signs, so I'm kind of lost. So now I'm just walking around looking like a new dick, like just walk. What's up, new booty? Staring at the signs and shit. Like somebody's gonna try to jack me. They're probably not because I'm 6'3" and I'm black. But if someone was looking to jack somebody, it's the dude who's walking around clearly faded, who doesn't know where he is gonna get jacked. Right?
Sure. And yeah, man, I'm sure like so all your travels, was that all through comedy and touring and everything?
Comedy and weed. I work for the International Cannabis Business Conferences. Shout out to Alex Rogers and the whole crew out there. So we do conferences in Switzerland, Spain, Germany, America, and Canada. And we might be looking at some other countries later in 2021, 2022, 2022. We're supposed to go back to Germany, knock wood. We're supposed to go back to Germany in July if we can get this pandemic and these vaccines under control. I'll be in Texas in May, hell or high water. If I have to fucking drive, I'm going out to Texas. So
I feel you. Well, Texas is open though, ain't it? You could get there, let you come out there.
yeah, man, but like I'm old and slutty, so I can't just be going out and acting crazy. I gotta be careful. I gotta be careful. I got underlying conditions. If I was 23, I might just be like, fuck it, I'm out here in the streets. But, better safe than sorry. An ounce of prevention beats a pound on the head.
True. And that's interesting. I never realized that you were part of them. And man, this coronavirus, this pandemic has been such an impact on like the conferences. It's hit us as well, our cannabis business summit.
I had to come home from Spain last March. We were in Spain. We had some shit set up. We were going to be in Spain. We were going to do Berlin. We had 2 weeks between Barcelona and Berlin, and I had a whole itinerary. I'd been calling my international homies, man. I was going to kick it in Europe for 2.5 weeks. I was going to set up an appointment at the black-owned barbershop in Berlin and be some international black man experience, and I had to come. I'd been in Europe for 2 days. They're like, everybody's got to go home. I was like, man, what are you... come on. So
man,
I can't wait to go back.
That would have been dope. And I know that was like the last cannabis event, like the day right before before Corona. My coworker Clarissa was out there. Shout out to Clarissa.
Shout out. Yeah, Spanibus was just about to happen and everybody had to come home, man. It was sad. I was sad. I almost flew home and then flew right back because the tickets were cheap. I was like, well, if I'm just really careful. And I was like, I should just, It was like, if I'm careful, they got socialized medicine. If I get sick, it won't cost me anything out there.
And then, man, so like on the like how'd you get into comedy? What made
I'm just funny. When I was a kid, I used to listen to a lot of comedy albums. Richard Pryor, Steve Martin, Red Fox, Bob Newhart, who I think is one of the funniest people who ever walked the earth. And then, when I was in high school, I was a theater major, and everybody all the time, man, you're really funny. You're really funny. When I was in college, yeah, you're really funny. You're really funny. And then I became a street juggler. And then I just started hitting open mics. I was like, I'll try it out. And it turned out I am kind of funny, and I'm very comfortable on stage, and people like me. And so I just was like, this is the life I want. And Eddie Murphy was making big bank, and he started as a stand-up comedian. I was like, shit, we could do that. We could do that. And so we just started doing it and just hit the road. And I like to travel around anyway. I have no problem being on the road for weeks and months at a time. So I'm fortunate like that. Like I don't really get homesick unless if it's an 8-week tour, you kind of get homesick around the 4th week. You get a little weird. You're like, man, it's kind of rough. But then you power through that. And then the last 4 weeks are just like magic. You're like, oh, it's very zen. What do you have? I have the road and the show. And just travel around and meet friends and work on my act. And then when you get home, your act is so tight. Like you got new material. You got a little money in your pocket. You got some swag. You got some stories to tell. Right? Right. That's a good time. You got some weed. Oh, man, I got to get back on the road, dog. My wanderlust is crazy right now.
I feel, yeah, especially for somebody like you said that was out here like that, man. It has to be.
Yeah. This is the longest I've been home in 30 years. I've been home. I think the furthest I've been away from my house is like Salinas, which is 2 hours from here.
Mhm.
So we're 3 hours from here. I went up to Mendocino this fall too because I love that shit in Humboldt County. But that's the farthest I've been away from my house. This is the most I've been home in 30 years. And I'm really starting to forget how to act, man. I'm starting to lose it.
Same, man. But I'm kind of getting used to it, man. I do want to be able to travel and get out and do all of that stuff, but I'm just seeing my kids have to leave and go back to school. All that stuff is going to feel weird.
Yeah, yeah. No, it is cool. Like, I mean, I've been practicing my trombone and I grew some weed this year. I don't always get to grow weed because I'm
Mhm.
always, I'm gone. But I put some shit in the backyard and watch it do its thing, and that was nice. And it came out all right. And I'm still smoking it, so that's saving me money. But I like to travel around and meet people and hang out. That's really been my thing for the longest time, and
Yeah.
I got to get back into it.
And so trombone, what style of music? You a jazz guy?
Yeah, jazz and concert band. I was a music major in college, music and theater. I was gonna be a high school music teacher, and then it turns out that I'm really funny, and they pay comedians in cash, and so
Yeah.
I went pro after my junior year in college. Entered the draft, became a journeyman comic comedian.
Nah, but I mean, shit, if you could play the trombone, tell the jokes, juggle, like all of that type of stuff at once, that's the one man show right there.
I'm not Cedric or nothing, but yeah, I can sing a little bit too. Shit, we can do it all. like
How
I'm
many
like bargain Jamie Foxx out here.
how many joints can you juggle at one time? Like 10,
No,
5?
10. Jesus, dude.
I don't know.
That's world class. If you can do
I
10,
can't
if you can
juggle
do more than
one.
5, if you can do more than 5, that's world class. I can do 5 if I've been practicing. But I really like 3 and 4. I mean, they're so the intricacies, the things you can do, the vibes you can create, the patterns you get out of 3. It's very simple. I'm a simple man. I like a simple thing. And
Mhm.
so it just works. It just works for me.
Yeah. And we talked a
And
little
for
bit.
me, like juggling, I didn't really become a juggler. Uh, like, oh, I'm gonna be world champion circus juggler. I was just trying to get these jokes off, and I needed an excuse. Other dudes like Bernie Mac, Dave Chappelle, they would just stand in the street and tell jokes. And I was like, man, that's bold, that's brave. But if you have some shit to throw in the air, like you could stare at this while you listen to these jokes,
Mhm.
then it's different.
You do it at the same time. You can juggle and tell the jokes at the same time. Not that's crazy. I can't imagine that
Well,
concentration.
it's not like BB King. Well, it's BB King. Well, I mean, listen, there's people who can sing and play drums, and I'm always like, how do you do that? Like, I can play drums or I can sing, but I can't really sing and play drums.
Right.
Right? But if you know BB King, he would either sing or he would play the guitar. He didn't do them both at the same time,
Hmm. Yeah.
and it worked out for him. So
Yeah, definitely did.
he did all right.
Yeah. And I mean, you did all right too, man. You was on
I'm
that.
doing all right, man. It's not bad for a kid from McAllister and Central. I've
Yeah,
been all
man.
around the world,
Yeah.
smoking weed and telling jokes.
That's dope, man. And so I know we talked about this before
Drinking for free.
we came on, but how did you land the Netflix deal, man? How'd that
They
come?
just called me up. It wasn't even supposed to be on Netflix. It was just supposed to be a web series. They were like, we need somebody who's kind of funny, who knows a lot about weed, who's comfortable on stage in front of the camera to do this show we're doing. I was like, all right, I'll do it. So I drove, and I had to bring all my own clothes. I packed all my clothes in the car and shit, and drove down to LA. And we shot. Well, I think we did 12 episodes in 3 days,
Hmm.
and it sat around for a year and a half. I was like, man, is this ever going to be on this web? They were like, we got a new web channel coming out, blah, blah, blah. And it never showed up. I was like, all right, well, one more project that didn't work out. And then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, hey, get ready because it's coming to Netflix in a couple weeks. And I was like, all right. And then shit blew up. I was like, hey, do I get a cut of the Netflix money? They're like, oh, no, we paid you the web series money already. You signed the contract. But my Instagram blew up and my Twitter blew up. And so now I'm an influencer. So it worked out. It worked out for me, for sure. I get recognized in Spain. I got a lot of followers in Brazil. Obrigado. Obrigado to all my Brazilian followers.
Heck,
Bom
Netflix
dia.
is around the world, man. So
That's the thing, man. Like, sometimes we forget, or at least I forget, because I've been a performer, I've been an entertainer for a long time. So sometimes I forget about the power of TV and media, because you're supposed to be on TV. Like, people are like, oh my God, I saw you on TV. I was like, yeah, I mean, it's just my job. It's like, I saw you at the convenience store. Yeah, I work there. Right. So you're supposed to see me there. But sometimes I forget, like, Neflix is all around the world. So, I got homies in Japan now, and homies in Peru, and homies in Uruguay, and Germany, and Moldova, and Malta, and shit. So it's cool. It's wild.
Yeah, man, you was eating some bomb food on that show, man.
Those cats can cook, man. Huh?
I said, I know it was a while ago, but do you remember what your favorite recipe or your favorite chef was? Who your favorite chef?
Andrea Drummer and my boy Brandon were my two favorite chefs on that show. Also, Mike Delisle was also a good chef. But Andrea can cook her ass off, man, and I recommend her for anything. She's just a good chef. And Brandon, actually, he was one of the other brothers on there. He actually won on Chopped too, right? So like, our show is whatever, but like, Chopped is hard. I watch Chopped. Like, I would love to be on Chopped. I got to work on my plating. But my flavor profiles are exquisite, but my plating, I got to work on my plating. But Brandon's a beast.
Yeah, and I mean, it was dope even going back and seeing that, like rewatching it now as I was preparing for this, like seeing Andrea, because she's going on to have such success.
She's a monster
out there.
Yeah. That's the thing, and it's great. It's great to see people take that and thrive and move forward and keep growing. It's fantastic. And learning.
And I didn't realize you cook too, man. You've been chefing it up since you've been home in quarantine.
Bruh, I've been getting at it. The one problem is I hate to wash dishes, so and I don't have anybody to wash dishes for me right now.
Man, I hate washing dishes myself. I load them joints in the dishwasher.
I put them in the dishwasher and then I don't even turn it on, man. I just don't even like that step either.
Me either. It's funny. I had one of them moms growing up that was every time like, I don't like them in the dishwasher. I want mine hand washed.
Yeah, my kid used to be like, well, we have to load the dishwasher. I was like, what the dishwasher looked like when I was a kid? It looked like me and your uncle. We were the dishwasher. Right. Shit, we had a dishwasher. My dad wouldn't even let us use it. He was like, no, you got to wash the dishes.
Yeah, we was the same. I was like, what are you talking about? You don't like, you like your hand washed.
It's sitting right there. It's sitting right there.
It was different.
It's different. It's different. Times have changed. Have changed.
And speaking of times changing, like with everything going, like, not being able to go out in the world, like how have you been pivoting? Like, what's the comedy scene like in the news? Like,
I've been producing a monthly show on not on Netflix. I wish that would be dope. I've been producing a monthly comedy show on Zoom with Nowhere Time. If you go to nowheretime.com, we do it on the 20th of every month. So this one will be the 2/24/20 comedy extravaganza. Matter of fact, I gotta set that shit up right now. So I just call my comic homies. I mean, that's the one nice thing is everybody's home and people looking for shit to do. So you can call your famous homies and be like, "Hey, famous homie, do this show with me." And they're like, "All right." You don't have to fly anybody anywhere. You don't gotta rent a venue. You just set it up and go. And that's nice. Online comedy is cool. I got another show on the 5th at kocomedy.com. I'm sitting in on that one. But there's nothing like performing in front of a live crowd, man. And I miss live comedy. I'm gonna have to go to Vegas and just wear a mask the whole time, I guess, and get my comedy vibe on.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to ask, but I guess you answered. That was gonna be my next question. Like, have you done like any small, like in person? Like, I know Dave Chappelle was doing his outdoor thing
and then he caught the COVID.
Then he caught the COVID.
Right? Every time I think, man, I'm gonna get back out on the road and just be careful, and then somebody comes down with the COVID. I know like 5 comics who have come down with it. And those are the comics who didn't stop working. Right? But most of them are younger than me, so they recovered. But I know a few cats who've come down with it. And I'm not really trying to have that. I'm very careful. I wouldn't say I'm too careful, like, I don't live in a bubble, but I'm super careful about that. I wash my hands, I wear my mask. I don't I used to talk about like when you go to a town, you used to look for a restaurant that was crowded, right? Because that would signify that they probably have decent food. And now I look for some empty place. Like, hey, man, let me just eat this mediocre food in peace with nobody around me. I just don't want to wash dishes.
Same, man. Same. Never washing the dishes.
I don't want to wash. It's terrible.
Right. And man,
Uh,
now what were you about to say?
no, no.
I was just going to ask, I think it's super dope that, like this entertainment side of cannabis and like content and media is such a big opportunity. And I think it's
Yes.
just going to continue to grow, man. Like, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I would like Instagram and Facebook to be more cannabis friendly. Those guys, it's kind of funny. Like I've definitely been yelled at by Instagram. We've removed this post for promoting drug use,
Hmm.
and I wasn't even promoting drug use. I was just in a club, and the prices were behind me by accident. I didn't even know that the price list was behind me. I was just taking a picture of some other shit. So I would like to see more of that. I think Cannabis, which is a very weed centric social media app, I think those guys are pretty cool. And I think there should be more fancy pantsedness in the cannabis industry, right? That's what I like. I like tasting parties. I like a high tea. Those are the kind of things, the events I throw when we're not in a pandemic. I throw like a fall tasting party, right? Everybody's going to come over for Thanksgiving and we're going to eat some fancy foods. We're going to have 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 different strains hand grown by personal homies and top notch growers who are going to be there. So also, so you can talk to them about it and, get into the, oh, that's like a hint of peach with a touch of mint, whatever. Oh, this is all garlic and wine, whatever the flavor is. You know what I mean? That's the kind of vibe I like. I like an infused beverage. And, just people hanging out and being social. And I think that's one of the things that we get away from sometimes with people who aren't really hip to cannabis. Is cannabis is a social drug, right? You stand in a circle, which implies equality, right? Knights of the round table. No one is above or everyone. We're all standing around together. And I think a lot of these legislators and politicians think that you just get your weed and you're gonna go home and you're gonna smoke it all by yourself, like in the
Right.
corner. You're not doing anything wrong. You're just smoking weed, man. People like to go to bars. One people like to go to a little weed social club and sit around, have a joint, play some bingo or some cards or whatever, or some D&D or some Madden, whatever you do, FIFA, whatever you do. That if you Vancouver had some nice social clubs out there. Portland had some nice social clubs, and I'd really like to see a return to that. Just a spot where you can sit and chill, coffee shops in Amsterdam style, where you can just sit
Yeah.
and chill and lounge. Barcelona does it really well too because it's all social clubs out there, right? You have to become a member of the club in Barcelona, right? It costs you like €50 or for a year or €20 or whatnot, and then you get a membership card. And there's so many different kinds. There's kinds are kind of like sports bars. There's kinds who are kind of like co-working spots. There's kinds who are just like they have a big garden. You just sit out in the garden and chill and smoke your weed, stare at the flowers or whatever. And I think we need more of that. We need more social lounge style cannabis consumption areas
Hmm.
to really. That's just something I'd like to see.
Hmm. And and being there in California, do you have your own cannabis brand, or have you thought about
I
expanding?
do. I have a line of pre rolls.
Oh, let's see. You got any out? Let's see them, man.
I smoked them. Oh wait, is this? Yeah, this is the Ngaio 420 brand of pre rolls right there. Matter of fact, I think we're out. We got to re up. I got to go out to the woods and talk some homies out of Head Stash and start making some more pre rolls again. That's something on my list of shit to do. I've been procrastinatory lately. Yeah, but that's my thing. I go out to the woods and talk some homie out of some special unreleased exotic type shit and then put it in a joint. And, and we
That
go
only the
from there.
good shit's gonna have your name on it.
Man, do I not look like somebody who knows where to get good weed?
Now you
Right? People
definitely,
ask me for weed all the time. People I don't even know. Hey man, where can I get some weed? Man, I don't know you. Yeah,
yeah.
come on. We'll
You
go.
might be the brother if I was somewhere and I didn't know where I was at. I might ask, like, "Yo, bro, you know where the weed is at?"
That's pretty much what happens. That's pretty much what happens when I'm in towns where weed is not legal. They just walk right up to me. Hey, where's the weed at? Man, I don't know you. It's in my pocket though. How much money
Right.
you got? No, I'm not selling you weed because I don't know where the weed is in this town either.
Mhm.
So I'm holding on to what I got. I'm on rations. I'm in Wyoming, fool. I don't have it.
Dang,
Uh,
Wyoming. Man.
It's hard to find weed in Wyoming. Not hard, but it's hard to find good weed in Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And what's some of the other, it's like I said, I didn't even know you had the brand. What's some of the other stuff that you do or that you're working on in the industry?
That's it. I write for Leafly. I got my own line of pre-rolls. I throw the occasional cannabis comedy festival. I throw the online comedy show. When we're not in a pandemic, I do fancy pants tasting events and little cannabis parties. And I also hit all the cannabis or all the comedy clubs and venues that they'll let me at. And you can see me at the Emerald Cup and the Seattle Hemp Fest and the Portland Hemp Stalk and wherever there's weed, I generally show up. Where there are two or more gathered in the name of weed, you will find me. You will find me there.
Man. And like, what advice, for other people that, that see you and they, they wish that they could do that, like, being like the cannabis entertainment or media business, what advice do you have for them trying to get started or get in?
Fucking start. That's the hardest part is just start. Go up to somebody and be like, hey, I want to get into this too. Stoners are generally like, yeah, we could use the help. This is what you can do. I mean, that's really the hippie thing. Like, I remember when I first started hanging out at the Seattle Hemp Fest, the first couple times, I tried to call them. I'll call, and stoners, they don't always call you back right on time, especially back in those days. And then I was like, oh, I remember how hippies work. You just show up and find out where you fit in. And then if you can fit in, that's what I did. I just showed up one year and talked my way on the stage and did 5 minutes and fucking killed it. And they were like, all right, man, come back. Right? So then from there and there, you move on and on. Now they're like, hey, you want to host this stage this year? Can we see you on the main stage? Can you host a little bit on the main stage this year? Can you do this? You just got to, that's just really how you have to do it. You got to show up and find your spot and get in where you fit in and do the thing, right? The best ability is availability. But if you're available, you also have to be competent. And, people talk a lot of shit about stoners not getting shit done, but stoners are the ones who legalized weed. Mm-hmm. Right? It wasn't the non-stoners that did it. It was the stoners who did it. So when you're sitting there in your weed club, smoking your legal weed or buying your legal weed, and someone tries to make a disparaging mark about stoners, or like, oh, we don't do that, that's too stonerish. Fool, stoners are the reason you got it. You better be proud of your stoner ways. Right. Get into it, right? I always tell people, start early, you might be high.
Hey, I'm definitely always proud, man.
Yeah, man, nothing wrong with it. Hey, man, but thanks. I gotta wrap it up. I got a bunch of shit to do. I'm gonna get off my ass today and get some work done.
Timing, man. Well, I appreciate having you on. It was great having you out here.
Always a pleasure to hear.
Yes, sir. And we'll wrap soon, man. I'll come see you out there when everything opens back up.
Yes. I'm coming out to DC. You in DC?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm coming out to DC this winter, this fall, man. I'm on. I haven't been to DC yet in my life, and that's something I really want to do. I know. So I got to get out there. I want to check it out.
Oh yeah,
I need some go-go music in my life.
We're going to take you to we're going to have you at the DC Improv, man. Tear that and burn it down.
Let's do it. We'll burn it down, and then we'll burn one down.
All right, bro. And I'll let you go then, man.
All right, man. I appreciate you, man. Take care, bro.